Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm sharing my card for the Innovation Master category from the contest Buy My Favorite Things. Today is the final day to enter your designs, your cards. There are 3 categories, so I just want to encourage you to also play along. You never know whether you win or not, but you can only try, and who knows. As you probably know from my other videos, I don't really see myself as an innovation master. As in, for me, just a regular shaker is already a big deal. I don't make that often. And I will share in the upcoming week, hopefully, a card that I tried for this category with an infinity shaker that sort of failed. I asked on Instagram whether you wanted to see the messed up card as well, and apparently you want to see that as well to learn from that, which I don't mind, but I'm still editing that. But for today I decided that I was going to base my card on the new technique that Jennifer McGuire showed earlier this week, being the simple scene changing cards. I just love what she did with it. I just thought she knows what we are going through with the Innovation Master contest. So she sort of saved my life. No, but because of her, I am making a card for this category. I am going to link towards her video in my description box, because in the end she just knows how to tell you what you need to do. So I will explain it in my words or how I did it, but in the end there are a lot of ways to do it. Jennifer McGuire shows multiple cards with it, so really handy. And here I am coloring in my images. Just so you know, also this video contains a failed card. Again, I'm not an innovation master. Even when I was looking at Jennifer McGuire's video, I just didn't think of a few things, so I will go over that with you. You can also see here that I stamped out that Christmas tree with Santa. In the end, I am not using the image anymore because I used it on my failed card. Coloring took a while, and I didn't want to color the tree again, so I'm skipping the coloring of the tree because it took like the longest part of the coloring. And I am also going to tell you when it went wrong, what I did wrong, but most of the part that went wrong in my card was that I had an idea in my head, but I didn't plan out exactly where everything needed to go. In the end, I'm happy that it didn't work out, because I could do other things that I will explain later on. So that was handy, but my initial idea didn't work. So for the coloring, I am just putting the caps on the side so that you can see which color I'm using at what time. And I'm also listing everything down below. This is stamped out on Neenah with Gina K Design Amalgam ink, and the stamp set is Secret Santa, which is adorable, and I also use it for the other cards for this contest. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. I might link to them in the description box if I don't forget it. But for the rest of the coloring, I'm going to put on some music. I am not going to show you everything. The packages I have colored without filming, because I'm using the same colors as on the dress, on the pajama from the boy, on the sock. So you have seen all the color combinations already that I'm going to use there. So just to save some time, I skipped that part. So I have die cut everything using the matching dies, and now I am starting on my little scene. As you saw in the first picture already, this card is based on two cast cards, being clean and simple. I didn't do any fancy scenery because sometimes you just really want to let those images shine, and with this stamp set I just adore them. I plan on making a really big scene card with it as well, hopefully this year if I get to it, because they deserve a great scene as well. But just keeping the scene really simple makes you really look at the images, I think, and I like that. So this is the building up of my failed card, but in the end I just do this all over again, this blending, the masking and stuff. I am creating here some sort of grounding for the images to stand on. I really like using antique linen for this. When I'm keeping the card simple, it just gives enough of a grounding. This color, I just really like it. So I'm using exactly the same color on the inside, also 3 centimeters. I don't know it by heart how that is calculated in inches, but 3 squares on my grid mat are used for the grounding here, and I'm just blending the same distress ink on the bottom. So something that Jennifer McGuire did, and definitely check out her video if you want to create a card like this. She stamped out placement of her images on the inside of a card, and that's something that I didn't, and maybe I should have done that to avoid my mistake. The thing was that I wanted to add too much on the inside and it didn't fit all, so there it went wrong. And also some other things, but going over them soon. So on the front I want like that little girl peeking into one of the socks, and then the boy is watching and thinking so therefore the absolutely no peeking is just a wonderful sentiment. So here I am adding my die because I want to have the boy in the scene inside of the card as well. And when running it through my die cutting machine, I prefer adding my purple tape on the inside of the die, as you can see here, just to avoid having the shape of my purple tape being pressed into the rest of the card. It's not always the case, but sometimes I have that. So to avoid having any presses of shapes that I don't want to have there, just put it inside the die. And now I'm going to stamp out the sentiments, trying to align it as straight as possible, and then I'm stamping it out with Gina K Design Amalgam ink again. So the first thing that I did wrong was that I started with the scene on the front. I just die cut where I wanted to have the little boy, but then for the inside and all the things that I wanted to add, actually the boy should have been more on the right. But I thought that I could wiggle it and just be able to continue with my card without any problems. Problems are going to come. So I'm adding it with some liquid glue, and so far I was really happy. And then the little girl, I can add some dimension using some thin foam squares, making sure that there are enough on the back. And then I'm adding it. Like this, and then I could continue with the inside. So for the inside I had planned out the Christmas tree with Santa and then all the presents. As you can see here, the boy is a bit too much to the left to get Santa on there. But then I thought, no worries, you can just score Santa and then you have a little crease, but that is no issue. I didn't want to cut off Santa. In the end, there is a left panel on the inside of the card, so it could have run through. So I just creased it, folded it, and then glued it. But liquid glue has to dry a bit, so I couldn't see that it wasn't going to work, so I continued with the card. So that's why I show you everything. So the idea was Santa behind Christmas tree and then a lot of presents, because this boy isn't peeking, so he sort of gets a lot of presents to see. And then I thought, yeah, the presents would have been better a bit behind him as well, which is something that Jennifer McGuire did by first stamping out everything, and then she knew what she had to add first and what afterwards and such. But I didn't do that, so maybe that is definitely a better decision to make, to do that. But yeah, just I'm trying to go with it. So I rearranged the presents, I was happy with it, glued them down. I had no idea that it wasn't going to work at this point, so I used a lot of my images, but I had colored my presents 2 times, but changing up the color of the bow and the package. So here I have that, and then I wanted to fold it, and just that Santa created too much bulk, so my fold of my card wasn't that thin anymore, and because of the bulk, my image of the boy wasn't aligning anymore, and it was already adhered very well, so I couldn't get it fitting with the hole that I created with the die. So I was really disappointed. So at this moment I didn't want to color anymore. I had already a filled card for this Innovation Master category, so I was getting fed up, really, and I decided I really needed that boy to be rescued. I love the coloring on it. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the blue that I haven't used before yet. The sock I could get off because I just adhered it, but the rest just was too difficult. Then the little girl was also needed, so I peeled her off as well. Something you can have when you peel off your images is that you get some creases inside of them, and that's definitely not what you want to do or to have. So for the little girl, I first started with getting her off, peeling her up, but then a better idea is actually, yeah, you cannot see it here, but a better idea is to turn your card over, keep the girl flat on your desk, and then peel off the card behind it. And this way you create creases on the card, but that's fine because that one is ruined. So just put her on your desk and then start peeling. Like this. And then I just started over. I'm not going to show you the blending again and all those things, because it's exactly the same. I didn't change anything about that, so I blended and I stamped it out. And now I'm going to do this right this time. An advantage of having it not working was that actually in the inside I could add a bit more presents, I thought. And there are so many lovely stamps that are in the set included with sentiments. Because there wasn't a tree, I had more space to get a sentiment on the inside as well. And you will never have seen me do anything on the inside. I'm not someone who puts things in the inside just because I want to have space and to write. It depends on who I'm sending things towards, that I write more or less. And for these cards, Christmas cards that you make way ahead, I don't really know who is going to get it, except for a few cards. But without a tree, I had space for sentiments and for a bit more presence, and then on the top of the inside you can still write enough. So that's something that I really liked. So a bit of an advantage as well that it didn't work out. And here I am arranging those presents again. I'm also adding a bag behind it, which wasn't really an option with the other one. It was just getting too crowded. So now I really have two guest cards in one, instead of having one really busy interior, which is also gorgeous. I'm not saying that it's not gorgeous, but I don't think it's my style, because I never do things on the inside. Maybe I can do it later on and build up, creating more and more on the inside, but for now I am really happy with this card. So I'm adding those presents, and I have also added that back on the right. I'm going to trim off the excess that is sticking out of the cards. And then you see that little sock on the left, the blue one. I thought the girl was peeking on the front, so maybe I could add like the blue sock right beside the boy. And I did, and here was my happy dance. I was so glad that this card was finally turning out as I wanted it to, and I really like the fact that the tree isn't inside of it. The colors are much brighter. I really liked how I colored the tree, but maybe it just didn't fit with these images. I don't know. So I added a bit of stickles, and then my card is finished. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. The mistake actually led to a more beautiful card in my opinion. I hope you like it as well. I am listing towards a video from Jennifer McGuire. Please check that out if you want to do this technique before starting. I am not the expert on this one, but I'm really glad with how it turned out. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I hope to see you next time again. Bye!